Hello everybody, my name is Cody, and welcome back to the Plant Channel. So today's video was actually chosen by the viewers because I put it up in the community tab for you guys to vote on. So let's get into it. So I just got some notes and stuff here on my computer, and we're going to talk about the plant and some cool details that I found out about it. So let's just get into it. I'm setting weird because it's right here to put, I'm going to use it to put pictures up so y'all can see what I'm talking about. So let's get started. So there's actually only one Alocasia on this list right now. It would be the Alocasia Mellow. This is a fantastic looking plant. It's like gray with heavily textured thick leaves. It almost looks like rhino skin or elephant skin. It is native to Indonesia, and it lives more in a rocky terrain unlike other Alocasias. I learned that. That was super cool. But I have a friend who's also a YouTuber, Johanna. I will link her below so you guys can see. She has this beautiful, beautiful Alocasia collection, and her Mellow she has is just super, super beautiful. It's just big and happy and growing. And it's like, I'm looking at a picture of it right now. And the picture that I see, it's like dark green and gray and just that texture just gets me. Beautiful plant. So moving on to an Antherium. Antherium Luxurians, people. Alright, so kind of like the Alocasia Mellow, this is a textured plant. I believe the raised portions of the leaves, I think they're called bullies. I know if you've ever seen Begonia Blanchy Eye, those raised almost spikes are called bullies. This plant is just stunning. From the picture I'm looking at, it has square petioles. I didn't know that. But the new leaves come out light red to almost pink and harden off to a deep green. Who doesn't like a deep green leaf? It's heart-shaped. It's got a defined sinus. They are very, very sought after and very, very expensive. So one of these days I'll have a pure Antherium Luxurians. One of these days. I'm hoping. Moving on to the next. Alright, so this would be Antherium. Let's just see how you say this because sometimes I can't. Let's just see what the computer tells me. Speak to me. The computer says you should say this.
Peltingdrum.
Antherium peltingdrum. So this is, if you ever seen Antherium Eye, this Antherium has no sinus. The petiole just connects right to the leaf. This is one of 3 types of Antheriums out there that do this. Eye being 1, peltingdrum being 2, and the other one I was going to look up, but I forgot to. It's also known as the turtle shell Antherium. As you can see, it looks like a turtle shell. It is super, super neat. And just looking at it, real defined vein right down the middle of the leaf. It does look just like a turtle shell. That is so cool. And it looks thick. I've never seen this in person, so I've never felt it. So it looks like it's a thick-leafed Antherium, which I wouldn't be surprised if it looks it. It's just so cool looking. It almost looks like it tried to form a sinus, but yeah. So no, our next would be Antherium spladitium. So spladitium, heart-shaped, textured, looks like a humidity hog. I've had philodendrons in the past that kind of still had this textured of leaf, and they wanted like 1,000% humidity, and they hated me, so I just gave those up. This is a cooler growing Antherium, so I'm assuming it's from the highlands. So that would be probably a good Antherium if you grow Dracula orchids. That'd be perfect to grow with this plant. But it's stunning. It really is. Those textures, those veinage. This seem to be all one color, but that textures what just gets me. Moving on to some philodendrons. So, of course, a lot of you well, I don't know if you've all seen this. And I'm going to say, I'm sorry if I have created new monsters with the plants that I'm talking about. So this one would be Phylodendron Lemony Eye. This is the bubblegum pink plant. You know, the new leaves come out bubblegum pink on the back, and they harden off to a olive green color. This was found in Peru, elevations of 1,600 feet. It is named after the collector Ralph Lymani, Lynam. I'll put that up for you guys. And I've seen a few of these go for sale. I seen one on Enid's website for sale. Before it ended, it was at like $1,700. She even quotes that this is one of the rarest plants that she grows. I don't think it's been collected quite often. Just like some other plants, another plant we'll be talking about here in a little bit. But it's just a stunning plant, and of course plants are in high demand right now, so one of these days, I don't know if I can afford it, I will have this plant, because you guys know I'm actually a true collector, and I love collecting plants. So our next plant would be Phylodendron UPI. Now, a lot of people say Jopi, but it's UPI. So this was discovered by Moonen, Moonen. So this was collected by him. This is where it's been named after. So let's just talk about this leaf. We've got these ears, and then it skinnies down, and then it gets huge. So this was thought when it was first collected that it had been eaten by an insect. But actually this is the way the plant grows. So they believe that this plant grows this way to ward off being eaten by other insects. 2 plants were collected when this plant was originally collected. It is truly a botanically rare plant because it is thought that there is only 3 to 4 plants of this species left in the wild. So that's what I really like about this plant. Now it is in cultivation. A lot of people have it now, you know, growing it, selling it off. So it is in cultivation here in the United States quite often. I see it in Indonesia as well. But this has been on my list for a very, very long time, this UPI. And the leaves just get humongous as it ages. It's just so beautiful. And it's just the design of the leaf, you can't go wrong with that. It's super cool. So moving on to the next, we're getting into Hoyas. As y'all know, Hoyas have sucked me back in. So the first one is Hoya Veloso. So Hoya Veloso is a deep green with defined veinage on it. It's got like crinkly edges. I call it wavy edges. And these leaves get big. It's of course vining. There are some Hoyas that are upright. Kind of neat how they do that. But Hoya Veloso, I seen a friend of mine who has an Etsy store. She put up some Velosas, and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta have one. I'll have one of these days. But it's just a stunning. That deep green textured, edge textured leaf is what gets me. I just love it. Moving on to the next would be Hoya Rangsan. Rangsan, yes. So what gets... I'm a sucker for a splashy Hoya. So flecks of, you know, silver in the leaves, that gets me every time. Veinage and splashing is what gets me. So Hoya Rangsan, sorry, is splashy, and I love it. Has light pink flowers when it blooms, which I can't wait to get one so that I can bloom it, because I love blooming Hoyas. I actually just discovered that I could do it this year, so so excited. And looking at this plant, the leaves look thick, almost like carry eye, probably not carry eye thick, but more like cordata thick. And I love it comes to that point. I just love it. And it looks like some of these leaves could get big too. So moving on to the next Hoya is Hoya Elliptica. So Hoya Elliptica is kind of has that turtle shell look to it, which gets me because it's the veining, and it looks like there's some splashing in there, and I love it a lot. From what I've read and what I've seen, leaves get pretty good sized. This can be a difficult grower, from what I hear. Some people have success with them, some people have no success at all. They have beautiful white flowers that I read smell like fresh bread dough. So if I ever get an elliptica and I bloom it, we will find out if it smells like bread dough. But they also do grow well under artificial light with high humidity. So it'll be a good houseplant if you give it a lot of light. And the specimen that I seen was Vermont Hoya's, and he had a specimen that was just absolutely stunning, like just vine after vine after vine after vine. So beautiful. Like, I want it one of these days. So moving on to our last Hoya would be Hoya Undulata. So I know someone who has undulatas, and she said that she is going to save me one. So I will have one of these days. This is it just blows my mind how neat this plant looks. Especially with, and the picture that I'm looking at right now, I'll pop up so you guys can see what I'm seeing. Red, brown, silver, edges. There's some green in there. This is such a neat looking leafed Hoya. That's what got me. So this is a large leafed Hoya. Of course, when you give it a lot of sun, it'll stress it and turn the leaves red. The color of the flowers are pink and peach colors. And they look really, really big. So that's what I like about it. This is a very expensive Hoya, I know. I've seen auctions go for a 2-leaf cutting, well, just astronomically high. So I gotta save my pennies to get one of these days. A lot of these plants on my wish list I'll have to save my pennies for. So now that Hoyas are over, let's get into some begonias. So let's start off with Begonia U66. So I could not find very much about this plant. Where I found this plant was on Mountain Orchids. There's not a lot of pictures out about this because it is a relatively new begonia. It's got that leaf, so that bluish, silver, dark green veinage. The new leaves are pinkish and reddish, and it's stunning. And those leaves look humongous compared to his hand, because this picture came from Vermont Hoyas. It is a rhizomatous type of begonia that comes from Vietnam. And like I said, it is relatively new. I don't know when it was discovered. I know since it has a U66, since it is a U name, that means it's unidentified right now, so it has not been documented. So let's go on to the next. So I have one form of this begonia that's next. So I have on this list Begonia Blanchy Eye, the dark or the black form. So I have the modeled version, which I've showed to you guys before. And this is a fantastic plant. I really enjoy the modeled one that I have. It is growing great. And those leaves are just so cool. They're like paddled shaped, spoon. They're just neat shaped leaves. And they resemble a leather texture. So the colors on the dark or the black form range from almost black, which is a deep green, to dark green. This is a great terrarium type begonia, and it is newly recorded species. It is a newly recorded species that's endemic to the Philippine island of Palawan. So that was super cool. I got to see a little bit of information about that when I was searching. And another Begonia. The Begonias. Okay, so this would be Begonia Montiformis, I believe. Montiformis. This is a northern Vietnamese type begonia. And again, it is new to cultivation. Give it to Mountain Orchids to get my begonia bug going again. This is a limestone dwelling type, and just like Milano Valana, it has bullies, so it's got spikes on the leaves. The leaves change with the color. The leaves change with the age of the plant, just like Milano Ballata does. So a young leaf on a Milano Ballata doesn't have bullies on it, and as it ages, it starts creating those. They've got that beautiful light green, almost silvery stripe, veinage through the leaf. And I'm betting you this is a high humidity begonia. Who knew it? Me and my high humidity begonias. So, moving on. We are almost done, guys. Would be Saracystismirabilis. And I probably butchered that. So this looks like almost like a caladium kind of, with the triangular leaves. This is an aeroid. Beautiful green leaves with the white patches. Now the white patches kind of go away as this plant matures. While it's in juvenile stages, it's got the white, and it is terrestrial until it finds something to climb up, and it starts climbing. So I seen a section of one that was climbing, and it made me think of syngoniums. How when syngoniums start to climb, that vine they produce, that's what it made me think of. This one is relatively easy to get a hold of. I've seen a lot of people sell it here lately. I just haven't had the chance to get my hands on one yet, which I will here, one of these days. And I intend on letting it climb just to see how it morphs, because I like to see how stuff morphs. All right, moving on to the only Monstera on this list, because my Monstera list is ever changing because the names seem changing. So this is Monstera deliciosa Serenin. So this is, and some of you may have never seen this. So this is a morph off of deliciosa. That's what they're saying. It grows like a deliciosa. It's just got a different leaf than a deliciosa. And I love how strappy and fenestrated these plants are. They're super cool when they're young because they're little leaves, but they're huge fenestrations in these. From what I read, they have similar care to deliciosa, but the leaf is smaller. I do like watching McMitty talk about this on his YouTube channel. And our last but not least plant, the Piper Ornatum, or Ornatum, as some people say. So Piper is a vining member of the pepper family. If you guys don't know already, peppercorns come from a type of Piper vine, which is super neat. But the Piper Ornatum just gets me because it's got this glossy silver pink green leaf, and they're almost teardrop shaped. The back of them is almost blood red, like a deep red. Super cool plant. I've actually imported these in the past, and they do not import well. I actually lost them. They don't like their roots messed with, but once you get one established, you can actually propagate them fairly easy using moss. I've propagated different types of other types of pipers that way, and it's super easy. They like to climb, and they like high humidity. So that wraps up my wish list. Hopefully I wore off a little bit on you guys, and you guys have a new wish list as well, or some new plants on yours. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. If you have any questions, feel free, send me a message on the Instagram. All that information is below. Don't forget to check out my friend Johanna, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.